Very good. In case number 707850, these are the least serious of the offenses here. Count 1, felony to 5th degree, 12 months. Count 4, felony to 5th degree, 12 months. Count 5, felony to 5th degree, 12 months. Those counts will be served concurrently. In case number 705872, count 1, felony to 4th degree, 18 months. And those two cases, 707850 and 705872, served concurrently. In case number 708226, as to count 1, felony of the 1st degree with the 3-year firearm specification, and that is the count that the state is opting for the rating terms, isn't that correct?
That is correct, Your
All
Honor.
right. 3-year mandatory term for the firearm specification served prior to and consecutive to the underlying felony of the 1st degree, minimum 11 years up to a maximum of 16.5 years. As to count 4, felony of the 1st degree with the 3-year firearm specification, 3-year mandatory term for the firearm specification served prior to and consecutive to the felony of the 1st degree, 8 years. Count 6, felony of the 2nd degree, 8 years. Count 8, felony of the 3rd degree, 36 months. The counts, the firearm specifications by operation of law in case number 708226 run consecutive. So there's mandatory 6 years right there. That time will be served consecutive to the 11 years plus consecutive to the 8 years in count 4 and consecutive to count 6 on the 2nd degree, 8 years. So you're looking at a total of 33 years up to a maximum of 38.5 years. I'm imposing the consecutive terms, finding that they're necessary to protect the public from future crimes or punish you, and that the consecutive sentences are not disproportionate to the seriousness of your conduct and to the danger posed to the public, and that at least 2 of the multiple offenses were committed in this case as part of 1 or more courses of conduct. And the harm caused by the multiple offenses was so great or unusual that no single prison term for any of the offenses committed as part of any of the courses of conduct adequately reflect the seriousness of your conduct. That is 2914C4B. The court would note further that the 2 first cases that I read, those were pending, or the charges were pending when you committed this offense, and the court finds that you committed 1 or more of the multiple offenses while awaiting trial or a pending sentence, and were under, you weren't under a sentence, but the cases were pending. As to cases 707850 and 705872, you're subject on all those counts to discretionary post-release control for up to 2 years. In case number 708226, you're looking at a mandatory post-release control for a minimum of 2 years up to a maximum of 5 years on counts 1 and 4. You're looking at a mandatory post-release control minimum of 18 months up to a maximum of 3 years on count 6. And you're looking at discretionary post-release control for up to 2 years on count 8. Obviously, the mandatory post-release control for the counts 1 and 4 will supersede all the counts in all these cases. There also is an agreement, no early release. The 3-year firearm specifications in counts 1 and 4 run consecutively to each other to the underlying counts by operation of law. Post-release control is a parole period after incarceration. If you violate the terms of post-release control, you may limit additional time of up to half the original sentence and/or charge a felony escape if you're violated by the parole authority or Department of Corrections. If you were, for some reason, this court will be off the bench when you're not, but if you were released early and you violated, you go back to serve the rest of the prison term. If you're convicted of a felony, a new felony, while on PRC, the sentencing judge handling your new case can impose sanctions for the new crime and can terminate your PRC and impose a consecutive prison sentence of 1 year or whatever time remains on your PRC term, whichever is greater. That's the current state of the law as we have it today. This is an agreed sentence, but the indefinite term of the sentence under Reagan-Tobes, Senate Bill 201, there is a rebuttable presumption that you will be released after 33 years. However, the DRC may rebut that presumption if at a hearing they make specified determinations regarding your conduct while confined, your threat to society, your restrictive housing if any while confined, and your security classification. They may make those specified determinations and rebut that presumption for release at 33 years and maintain your incarceration after the expiration of that minimum term for a length of time determined to be reasonable, subject to the maximum term. They may make these specified determinations more than once. If you have not been released prior to the expiration of your maximum prison term, which is 38.5 years, the state must release you at that time. So you're looking with a total of all these cases for a minimum of 33 years up to a maximum of 38.5 years. Now, by operation of law, you are also, in case number 708-226 and count 1, designated as a violent offender, 290341. I'm going to read you the form. These are your registration duties after you're released. They may or may not change over time with the law. Is this your signature on the paper here?
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. Very good. Now, you've been convicted and you pled guilty to and been convicted of a qualifying violent offender offense as defined in revised code 290341. You are required, if you are not sentenced to prison, but after your prison term, you're required to enroll in the violent offender database personally with the sheriff of the county, where you intend to reside 10 days after being released. You are required to provide the sheriff certain information, including your full name and any alias, your residence address, your social security number, any driver's license number, commercial driver's license number, or state identification issued to you, any information regarding the offense of which you were convicted or you pled guilty, the name and address of any place where you are employed, the name and address of any school or institution of higher education you attend, the license plate number of any vehicles owned or operated by you or registered in your name, the vehicle identification number of each vehicle, and the description of each vehicle. You also must provide a description of any scars, tattoos, or other distinguishing marks on your person. You're required to provide sheriff the fingerprints and palm prints, which are already on record. You will also obtain a photograph of you at the time of enrollment. After the date of initial enrollment, you are required to re-enroll annually. You must update and amend any of the information described above that has changed and provide any additional information requested at the county sheriff's office within 10 days of the anniversary of the calendar year on which you initially enrolled. If you change your residence address during the 10-year enrollment period, you shall provide written notice of that charge to the sheriff with whom you have most recently enrolled and to the sheriff in the county in which you intend to reside within 3 business days of the change of address. You must comply with all these requirements for a period of 10 years, unless your sentencing court determines otherwise. Right now, you're going to be spending a lengthy term and with the Ohio Department of Corrections. But I would warn you, and the sheriff's office, if you come back into Cuyahoga-County, will not be located in this building at the time of your release. You'll have to make efforts to find out where it is. Failure to enroll or failure to verify your residence at the specified times will result in criminal prosecution. We will file that with the appropriate authorities. All right, defendant will be given jail credit for 180 days. That's what we've computed on these cases to date. And the cost and fine considering the length of the sentence will be suspended. Defendant is remanded. The sheriff is ordered to transport. Is there anything else for the committee?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, have we covered all the bases?
I believe so, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Thank you. Thanks for me. And if I could have a moment with the family once we conclude.